In the early 1970s, my older brother Mark got me my first paper route, getting up at 4 a.m. every morning to deliver the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I was so excited. Baseball cards, comic books. But as luck would have it, not long after I started, the paper went on strike. I was devastated. I was crying. Mark pulled me aside and he said, "Brian," patting me on the head, "don't worry about it. We may not have a paper here in Pittsburgh, but only 130 miles away in Cleveland, they do have a newspaper. My friends and I are going to go out there, we're going to get their newspapers, we're going to bring them back, or we're going to sell them on a street corner in downtown Pittsburgh." All I heard was, "Road trip, cool! Can I go?" As a young kid, I really didn't realize how far a drive it was from Pittsburgh to Cleveland and back, plus they had to get the papers. I grew impatient. What was left of my allowance was burning a hole in my pocket. I decided I'm going to an amusement park instead. I'm in downtown Pittsburgh waiting for the bus and I hear a familiar voice. "Newspapers for sale! Newspapers for sale!" Huh? Mark? There's Mark standing on a street corner selling the papers he had bought in Cleveland. I walk over there and watched in awe as Mark sold every paper. I remember thinking he could have sold 100 more. Of course I was upset because he didn't tell me he was back, but he gave me some money and I used that money and went to the amusement park along with my allowance. Of course the lesson there is supply and demand, but also Mark saw a need. People wanted to read newspapers. He figured out a way for them to do it and he filled that need. And he was first. There was no one else on those street corners in downtown Pittsburgh selling newspapers that day. Ironically, Mark would repeat that decades later when he invented broadcasting over the internet out of his bedroom with AudioNet. He did it so people could listen to college basketball games. He saw a need, he filled it, and he was definitely first. Decades later, I took that same lesson that Mark taught me as a kid when I wrote 2 books on subjects that aren't normally discussed publicly: Males with Eating Disorders and Mental Health in the Legal Profession. I don't know if I was first, but I certainly was at the head of the pack, and now I travel the country and in Canada speaking on these subjects. I've become a thought leader because of those lessons I learned from Mark selling newspapers. That's just one business lesson I learned from Mark. Seemingly simple, but incredibly profound. If you want to hear other lessons I learned from Mark growing up, go to www.growingupwithmark.com.